What up YouTube, Specrod here with another video, and this time it's another entry in my games I don't enjoy playing series. And the game we're going to talk about today is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is an installment in the Sonic franchise that was released on February 2nd, 1994 in North America, February 22nd in Europe, and May 27th in Japan for the Sega Genesis. I have made my thoughts about this game known in a few previous videos I've made. However, I never really went into full detail about the problems I have with this game. The closest I've gotten is my unpopular opinion series in the video games episode. But I'm going to dedicate an entire video going into why I don't really care for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I think it is the weakest game in this classic Sonic series. Now, the story I won't go that much into because it barely has a presence in the game. All you need to know is that Dr. Robotnik is up to no good again, and Knuckles periodically tries to fuck up your well-earned victory because he is tricked into siding with Dr. Robotnik. It is pretty simple stuff. Now, as for the gameplay, I don't really like it that much. I will say the first two zones are actually not too bad. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Hydro City Zone is the best water level in the Sonic franchise, and a really fucking good zone on its own. Although it does have a really fucking annoying glitch where the fish grabs onto you and it just lowers your rings until you die. Thankfully, it is easily avoidable, and it was fixed in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but it is really goddamn annoying when you do encounter it. But honestly, the game officially goes downhill when we get to Marble Garden Zone. I'm just going to say it. This is my least favorite zone in the classic Sonic series. I hate it more than Labyrinth Zone and Metropolis Zone. Yeah, I hate it that much. Let's get into why. Most of the gimmicks and mechanics in this zone feel more like pace breakers than anything. I especially hate that fucking blue drill. The controls on it are fucking awful. It is really hard to get it to do what you want it to do, especially turning. And if you get hit, you fall off and you have to get on it all over again. This is especially bad in Act 1 because half of the act requires you to use this thing. There's also some really tricky platforming that if you don't get it right, you have to do the whole thing again. It is just tedious. Act 2 is particularly a slog to get through. It is not the length that's the problem. The problem is that most of the length comes from mundane tasks that are just not that fun to play through. Also, I think a lot of these stages are too long to justify a time limit. I think I actually did get a time over on a few of these. And I think the developers knew this because by the 3D era, they got rid of the time limit altogether. And that was probably for the best. But one more thing about Marble Garden Zone is that the spike balls are placed in spots that not even the most skilled gamer in the world would be able to predict. Not to mention they are pretty frequent in the stage. It doesn't even have good music. I mean, you do get some speed in here, but it does not make up for any of the frustrating shit in this stage. This stage alone brings down the game for me. But honestly, the game does not get much better from here, because then you have to go to Carnival Night Zone. Act 1 is tolerable, but Act 2 is a real fucking pain to play. The bumpers are way more annoying in this act, and they only really cause the stage to go on for too long. It is also where we run into that infamous Barrel of Doom. I didn't have as bad of a time with this one as many people did, but I could definitely see why they did. I could definitely see why people had struggled with this one. I knew you were supposed to move the control stick up and down to control it, but even doing that was hard. You have to really tug on the control stick in order for the barrel to move where you want it to go, and it takes pretty long to get to that platform. I can't imagine how hard it must have been for people who played this back in 1994 who experienced this, because the internet was not really widely used as it is now. Cybershell was a fucking douchebag for saying that people were stupid for not being able to figure it out. It's not as obvious as you think it is. First of all, using the barrels was not required prior to that point. And nowhere in the game does it communicate that you're even able to move the barrels or any platform that spins you around. And dude, even the people that designed the game, Yuji Naka and Takashi Iizuka, grew to regret the Barrel of Doom. So to go on a rant about how stupid all the players are who couldn't figure it out was fucking insulting. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. It also has a really goddamn annoying boss. This boss is impossible to beat without a shield. And I'm not just talking about the elemental shields that the game introduces, but the insta shield which also debuted in this game. Yeah. Finding this boss is a nightmare. Ice Cap Zone is a bit of a better zone, but even that zone has a really fucking annoying boss in Act 2. It seems like they always make Act 2 have some annoying shit that was made specifically to piss me off. This boss is a snowblower with a platformer arm. You have to get on the platform to attack it, but that is easier said than done, because not only do you have to pay attention to the pattern of the snow blowing in many directions, but you also have to pay attention to when the platform comes down. That is way too many things to keep track of. It doesn't help that the timing you have to get down is very strict. I guess it might be possible with the Insta Shield, but again, why the hell do some of these bosses require the shield? If you can't beat a boss without using a shield, then that's not the sign of a well-designed boss. After dying way too many times at this boss, I just gave up. This game just isn't very well designed. The music is also a bit of a downgrade from the first two games. The only two tracks that I actually like are Hydro City Zone and Ice Cap Zone, both acts. Now the other tracks are not horrible, but they just lack pizzazz and they don't have super strong melodies. I did hear the music for Launch Base Zone and it is not bad, but it does not feel like a Final Zone type song. I will say, I do like how the second act remixes the song of the first act. I always kind of like that touch. But yeah, this is not really a game that I like that much. For that, I can't really say I like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Because in order to play that game, you have to play the Sonic 3 part. And considering that I don't really enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it doesn't seem like it's worth it. I just think Sonic & Knuckles is a much better game than AIM, and I think I made a strong case for why that is. Yeah, I don't like this game. Anyway, I'm Spike Robot. If you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, and feel free to support me on X, Instagram, and Patreon, and Pinterest. See you later. On the Freedom Jingos.